December 2014. Karen Berkshire, 39, is shot and killed by her ex-boyfriend, Jody Lee Hunt. 2 other people are gunned down. Hunt then proceeds to kill himself. In the end, 1 weapon leaves 4 people dead. This could have been avoided if Hunt had been issued a thorough background check. A background check would have found he was convicted of abducting his girlfriend, a felony that should have stopped him from purchasing a gun. Instead, he was able to buy a gun on Facebook with no background check. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident.
We are the only advanced country on earth that sees this kind of mass violence erupt with this kind of frequency.
We want to believe something like this could never happen, but we all know it could.
Every day, 100 people die due to gun violence.
Coming on to report what appears to be another school shooting.
The rate of gun violence in the US is 25 times that of other high-income countries. The US has more public mass shootings than any other country in the world.
9 people have been killed in a second mass shooting in less than 24 hours.
Americans own 46% of all civilian-owned guns globally. Currently in the US, 1 in 5 guns are purchased without a background check. The US government needs to be enforcing mandatory background checks during the sale or transfer of any firearm. This would include sales at gun shows and private sales performed by unlicensed dealers, 2 major loopholes in gun purchasing.
So right now, the Brady background check bill was passed years ago, and that was before the internet. So at that time, the idea was everybody should have a quick background check, just like when you get a driver's license, right? Or you get a dog license for your dog. You know, this is a gun. It's designed to kill. What needs to be expanded are these Brady background checks. So right now, 40% of guns are sold online or through a gun show, and they're exempt from a background check. That's like being at an airport and there's 2 lines, right? One of them says, we're gonna check your bag and go, you're gonna go through security, and the other line says, oh, just go right in. So we would like a background check on every gun sold in America. It doesn't matter how it's sold. That bill has been sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk for over 200 days. So if you do the math, 100 Americans are shot and killed every day. That's 20,000 Americans. And 40% of those guns, again, sold without a background check.
Currently, on a federal level, the US requires licensed gun dealers to perform background checks on any person looking to purchase a gun. The Gun Control Act of 1968 made it illegal for people engaged in the business of selling firearms without a license. This language is important as it did not mention people who occasionally sell or trade guns. This opens a large loophole for people looking to buy a gun without getting a background check first. On a state level, the amount of regulations on purchasing a firearm vary from state to state. There are only 12 states that currently require background checks during any sale of a firearm, whether from an unlicensed dealer or a licensed dealer. These states include California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, New York, Rhode Island, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, as well as 3 more, Hawaii, Massachusetts, and Illinois, that require not only a background check, but also a permit for any person looking to buy a firearm. 2 more states, Maryland and Pennsylvania, only require background checks when purchasing handguns, but not rifles or shotguns. The remaining states do not require background checks. The states that require background checks are already experiencing positive results. Since Connecticut passed mandatory background checks in 2013, the firearm homicide rate dropped by 20%, and there was a 15% reduction in firearm suicide rate. In contrast, Missouri repealed their permit to purchase handgun law in 2007, and they've had an increase in firearm homicide rates and firearm suicide rates. 85% of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, are in favor of universal background checks, yet no legislation has been passed. Speculation has been made that laws that would implement universal background checks have not been passed due to immense influence of the National Rifle Association over Congress members. The NRA spent $1.6 million during the first half of the year lobbying Congress to block any pro-background check legislation.
Follow the money. When things don't make sense, there's a lot of money involved. And unfortunately, gun manufacturers and ammo manufacturers, they do have money. But again, there's a bigger force here with most Americans that realize this is within the Second Amendment, and it keeps us all safe.
It's time for a change. Universal background checks need to be enforced on a federal level. It will help ensure the safety of the American public and help reduce the amount of violent firearm crime. It is unacceptable to continue to allow firearms to get into the wrong hands.